Oh, slow to respond. Okay, here we go. What's up? Okay, Instagram is starting. What's up, YouTube, Instagram? I'm Yogi Chris. What's up, Instagram? I'm Yogi Chris. We might as well get the TikTok started too. And this is a live stream talking about what I learned this morning from AZD about game. And stay tuned. We'll have Q&A also. And let me just put a little hashtag here. Alpha player mindset. That sounds pretty good. Okay. And pin it. Okay. And of course, you can skip ahead if you're watching the recording or do whatever the fuck you like. I really don't care. Okay, then we got guys live on Zoom. All right. Making sure all the tech is working just fine. Looks like it is. All right. Okay. So those who don't know who I am, I'm Yogi Chris, captain of IMC Nation. There's a whole ranking in IMC that happens. It's gone through different phases. Like in originally, okay, first of all, I just recently put out a free document. It was like a 8 or 9 page Google Doc that has the timeline of all the classes and what AZD's taught and what order they go in, dates, also the camps. So it's 2 lists basically of all the daily classes, how they changed. Like it used to be called Mastermind University, then it was called Temple of Christ. Now it's called The Game. But it's the same class, 10 a.m. every day, and it had many names before that. So you see the timeline of like, what are all the name changes that went through this, which is kind of a brand. It's a brand of a character that he's teaching game from. And that's similar to the camps, except the camps, they cycle much faster. So the characters will change every 2 to 4 weeks. Whereas, let's say the brand of the daily class changes every I don't know, 2 to 12 months or something, anywhere from like 2 months to a year and a half. Then it changes name. Like Lion's Den was Lion's Den for like a year and a half. And Dragon's Lair was Dragon's Lair for a year and a half. It's the same class as it is now. It's just there's big evolution leaps in his understandings that happen. And sometimes that happens because of what's going on in the whole organization. Like when we moved to Vegas or when the Beast process happened. That's when it became Lion's Den. Love Spell became Lion's Den when the Beast process happened. And what is the Beast process? And why am I bringing that up anyway right now? There was a reason for that. I don't recall the reason for that. Well, anyway, so that's when the beginning of the ranking system happened, where basically guys got beads. They became anointed monks of IMC Nation. Became a legit thing. And 45 or so guys earned the beads. And how they did that was through the process. The Beast process involved early morning wake up, never missing your wake up, counting your macros, which it's not like we were checking your homework or anything. You could just see it. A guy's body would change if he's really keeping track of proteins, fats, carbs, and just all the other stuff. We also would see a change in character. Particularly, it's not just from eating right and exercising. It's particularly stoicism and how AZD applied stoicism, which is like we have stoic books, certain way of reading it, certain way of journaling about it, certain timing of when to read it within your workout or whatever, and a certain method of reading it, like not too much, not too little, like how to actually study the stoicism and transform your character using the stoicism, where he used to say stoicism saved my life because he was going through some very harsh things that don't need to really repeat. I mean, basically, one girlfriend had a very bad illness that cost a fortune, and another girlfriend left and was prostituting herself, and it was like, what the fuck? And meanwhile, holding it down with other girlfriends, leading a nation, teaching every day. It's like, man, you're going through all this turmoil inside. He developed the Beast process called the AZD process or AZD Beast process. And so that was the first in my time. I mean, he was teaching martial arts years before that. I didn't live in San Jose. So there were guys that blue belts, brown belts, black belts, like that earned rank. So there was rank like that. But as far as the IMC Nation movement, worldwide, IMC people found through the internet versus his local martial arts was like guys down the street. People, it's your local community. And so people got monks. They became known as beaded monks. And they received a different level of teaching. There was a special camp for them, some special teachings for them. Because the process was truly, you overhaul your life. You set in place a schedule and a discipline that makes you very aware of what's going on inside. So that it's essential. Because what AZD is teaching is not just game, pick up lines. Is very little of that, actually. It's mostly inner game and mindset and perspectives about women, dating, life, money, men, masculine. Like, it's just frames of mind that has very little sound bites, which means like short phrases that you would use. Like, you don't just repeat what he says. That's what like a pickup line is. You repeat what someone else said versus putting you in the right state of mind so that you naturally tap into your naturalness and you just pick her up. And now learn a pickup line because you're in the right state of mind to pick her up. And here's some words that we've worked out that maybe help. And that's when it'll be authentic too. You're not going to like just repeat a line expecting it to work and needing her to respond a certain way. You'll be saying a line, having the right beingness, almost like when you tell a joke and you know the line, but you're still looking for them to laugh. You're not really needy for them to laugh, but you know it's going to be a good one. And that's what it'll come across as, not anything needy where I got to get the girl. So first it starts from a state of mind. And so beaded monks. Okay, later, fast forward about a year and a half or so, there was, I think at that time, multiple bases. The beast process happened when we started the base, first base, IMC base one, and that was in San Jose. And it took some time before base two and base three to happen, where guys moved in together and started doing that. And we got all the way up to 7 bases. And then now with the move to Vegas, there's been rearranging and whatever. And I think there is still 6 bases. Some of the bases are bigger now. So when the bases, I think when they multiplied and you had like 2 or 3, that's when do away with the beads. We'll always remember who are in the beads. I have the list of who's the beaded guys. Some of them dropped off. They dropped out of IMC. Fuck them. But at least 30 or 35 guys are still around. And probably at least 25 to 30 of them are in good standing. Maybe 5 of them are like, they have beads, but man, they're in the doghouse. Like, they're falling off. They're disciplined. They're not communicating well with other IMC guys. They're complaining. They're losing control of their health or whatever. Like, they're falling off. And that's fine. And so later, the officer rankings came in, and that was it started with just a bunch of tribal leaders. Then it got rearranged. Some tribal leaders got demoted. Then a new rank happened. I was a tribal leader, one of the first 4 tribal leaders, and then I got promoted to a rank of captain, became the only captain, and then there were all these other people that had different ranks, kusei and lieutenants and base leaders and guardians. Those were the ranks. Then later, new captains came on. Some lieutenant got promoted to captain. New base leaders, new guardians kept happening. We had like 17 or 18 guardians. And all of that involved really coming and living with AZD, which was called residency. You come and live with AZD at the time, and then you'd be almost have like a stamp of approval on your discipline. Because you'd just be living in the living room, sleeping on the ground. We all slept on the ground. I still sleep on the ground. And are you making your wake up? Are you doing your physical exercises? Whatever that is. It changed in the beginning during lockdown. The beast process was wake up super early, like 3 a.m., 2 a.m., do your calisthenics, cold shower, eat raw meat. Like, that was part of the process. Later, it's not that, but you make your wake up, do your cold shower, have some kind of physical practice throughout the day, all these ingredients, reading, different things. And, if you got the stamp of approval, some guys didn't. But if you were on top of things, and the measurement of it was really when you go out at night. That was the thing. We weren't just exercise junkies. We weren't just bookworms, we weren't just nutrition, snobs or whatever. We were players that were beasts. So we didn't get fat and sloppy like pickup artists, or they were already fat and sloppy. We didn't, lose ourselves to, yeah. Like that guy. That's a guy that was an IMC, paid like $2,000 for camps, but his wife is giving him shit about following IMC. He's so beta, he unfollowed everybody on IMC on Instagram. And, it's just pathetic. He sent me screenshots that he had with his woman. I'm just like, whoa, dude. Whoa. Like, I couldn't make up how pathetic it was. I would have to sit down and really tap into I don't think I could write how pathetic what he was writing. I don't think I could even imagine it. And that's what was so like reality shot. I was like, bro, this guy. And the thing is like interacting with him, he's not a retard. He has a job. He's an entrepreneur of some sort. He does it. He was paying for the programs. Like, he seemed to be getting it. But man, okay, I got to end Telegram because he's messaging me. And it's real bad. People are in different conditions. And, So okay, so the whole ranking system happened. We moved to Vegas, and Vegas especially because I mean there's a lot of nightlife, and AZD pushes us hard when it comes to like how late we're out and how early we're up and this and that. And you don't have to do it how he does it, but the closer you are to him, the more you got to mirror him because you can't take away from his lifestyle. So if he's operating at a certain rate, he needs everybody around him. If you're a cross country runner and you have a whole team, you need your guys pushing you also. And if they're lazy, then they got to go. They can't be on the team. So it's kind of like that. And so everybody, they came here, so distracting, so many beautiful women, so much to do, and they were getting sloppy. And so pretty soon he just kind of did away with the officers. Now, there's still such a thing as guardians, base leaders. I don't think lieutenants, but it would still be called, it would be kind of like the monks, the beads. Who has their beads? It's outdated. It's not really brought up, but we kind of know who was. Like we know Monster Adam was a lieutenant, and he's still a lieutenant. He's just not doing anything with it. That's a guy in Virginia that, earned the rank of lieutenant, and which is one under tribal leader. Captain, one of the captains got demoted, did some weird things. Another captain is kind of in the doghouse right now. And then there's me. There were three captains. The Kusei, whatever. There's these different ranks. So why was I bringing up the ranking system? Ranks. Man, I really don't know. Huh. Okay. Well, anyway, hopefully it gives you a little bit of history. I, have this free document out there, guys. So TikTok, Instagram, whatever. If you're interested in the IMC Evolutions document, it's 9 pages, lists out the order and some descriptions for a lot of the programs. So you see the evolution of it. And it has something to do with evolution of the teachings, current era. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll just get to the theme of it. So what I learned about game this morning from AZD. So I was debriefing some things, and I was talking about this one girl that it wasn't even really a date. I had met up with her after everything was going on. I was on my way home, and I met up at her apartments. And we just hung out for probably like 30 minutes. And then I drove home. And, that girl was kind of a source of an inside joke between me and another guy that I live with, because the girl had asked for my number. He already had her number. They had kind of been talking. She'd actually visited, but they'd never fooled around or anything. They just as friends or whatever. And so if you ever hear about urinal talk, have a urinal talk. One day, me and that guy were in the casino bathroom, a bunch of line of urinals, and he's like 3 urinals down or something. And somehow we're talking about this girl. It was the night that she gave me her number. And so it was this whole thing about like, he's still talking to her, but hey, she chased me down. So it's like, should I respect that you're talking to her if you didn't do anything with her? And she asked for my number. Like, why? So this whole thing, a whole ethics conversation came out of it. Philosophy, the philosophy of game. When you are a player by yourself, it's one thing. But when you're a player with other guys and they're players too, you start to develop rules and boundaries between y'all. And that's how you maintain the friendship. Like you won't want to go out with the guy. You'll think he's backstabbing you or saying weird shit about you or just whatever. Like as you come up. And that's very foreign to a lot of guys. They don't really have wing guys. I remember when I got into the game, which was a year or two before I met Arash, there were no wing guys. Like, and I was part of a community that had a forum, and I did meet some other guys. And, I had gone out with this guy or that guy, and there was one guy in my college town that he was into game, but a different lineage of game. And, we did the whole, we were, yeah, it was that. But, we were so undeveloped in our game and so limited in our success. Like we weren't really successful at it. I mean, little successes. Let's say the success of a guy that's shy to going out. Big success. I remember when I drove to the area where there were bars. I wouldn't call it downtown, but like my town wasn't that big. But the area where there were bars and whatever, thinking that's the way to learn game. Like now I don't even game at bars. That's like ridiculous to me. Why would you go? It's just ridiculous. But you could sometimes. It's just that being like the staple, the main arena where I would game. I mean, it's a little ridiculous. It's all kinds of weird pressure. It's stupid. But for me, I remember the day that he was like, I drove there and I drove around and then I went home. And I was like, whew, man, I got really close that time. And then like the next time I went and I parked and I just sat there for a while. And then I went home and I was like, man, that was even closer. And then I parked the next day and I got out and I walked around the block a couple times, went back to my car and went home. It's like, yeah, levels of it, like that level of success. You know what I'm saying? When I finally get into the bar and I'm talking to people, I don't know how much success I'm having, but it's good to have a buddy that you can talk with. So even if we're not really pickup artists like gaming like that, getting girls or whatever, we are out doing what we know we're doing. We're looking to meet women and we at least can interact with each other and have a somewhat good time, whatever. So that's rare. And he wasn't really good as a wingman or a friend. And I mean, it was something. We had some camaraderie. It's like you get into frisbee golf and somebody else is into frisbee golf. And pretty soon you start going playing frisbee golf together. It's like you're not really friends just because you do that. You just have a shared interest kind of. And you could become friends. And this is more like this would be more like the Navy SEALs all decide that we're going to get into frisbee golf. And so all the Navy SEALs go and they start playing frisbee golf. And they're like hella dedicated about it. They're like trading notes about how to do it. And they're warming up and stretching and making sure they're limber and they can. And they're like, watching film after of like their technique, like they're freaking Navy SEALs, but it's a ridiculous game. Most people think gaming women is ridiculous. You should just know how to do it or just be yourself or you don't need to learn that shit. Like that's what it's like, bro. If I was going to do anything that took skill, why would I just do that? If I was going to repair a vehicle, why would I just be natural? Do what you think is right. You'd get a teacher or look it up. Why is a relationship with a woman less serious than fixing a car? That's like going to ruin your life if you pick the wrong woman. You could have a kid with her. She could cry rape on you and not even, she could get drunk and like be raped by someone else. And then you got some real fucking shit to handle. You know what I mean? That shit happens. Like, how is that less serious? Why should I not have a mentor or a coach about that or read a book about it? If I was going to do frisbee golf, I would have maybe I wouldn't get a coach, but I would probably look some stuff up. And if I was, if I wanted to be great, then, so anything with skill. People just don't want to admit that dating and pickup is skill-based. They don't want to admit that it's skill-based because that means they could learn it, which means if they suck at it, which they do, it means they haven't learned it. They're inadequate. And now they spent their whole life wasting learning a bunch of shit that has nothing to do with women. Nothing. I have a PhD. I spent 24 and a half years in school, 12 years getting a high school diploma, 12 and a half years in university. Nothing I learned had anything to do with relationships and women. Zero. That's a lot of time. Add up all the hours studying shit that has nothing to do with women. It doesn't mean it's useless. I learned how to read and write. I can manage money for whatever reasons. I'm good with numbers. So some education was needed for that, right? But so much, I absolutely don't remember. As evidence, when we go to strip clubs and there's all these Cuban chicks, and I took 4 years of high school Spanish, and I don't know anything. I don't know anything. What a waste of time. Give me my time back. Oh, but you have to take a foreign language in high school. Give me my time back. I didn't want it. I didn't want to learn a foreign language. Why are you making me? Oh, because I get it. You're making slaves. I get it. Okay, now I get it. So all that education, nothing to do with happy, fulfilling relationships. Nothing. The best they have, which is really the worst, is going to be some college psychology classes learning about this and that, and they're all wrong. So you're actually learning the wrong information. If there's anything worse than being ignorant, it's learning to do it wrong. And that's what all the pickup and dating coaches are out there doing, teaching wrong techniques. They work in a narrow context with a short outlook. So what does that mean? That means you might be able to get sex tonight. They may teach you some lines and a few things, and with just a little bit of coaching, put yourself in the right situations where there's maybe some drunk chicks around, and you'll get an older woman, a loose woman, a whore, someone who just broke up with their boyfriend. I don't know if I said drunk. She could just be hella drunk or on drugs. You could get sex tonight or within some time if you get some coaching. It's very short-sighted. It's very low value also. If you want to learn game that has the kind of life, like at the beginning of the call, this girl calls me, talked about dinner tomorrow night. I tell her I already invited another girl, but if that doesn't work out, then it's you. Oh, good. Like, that's game. Neither of them are my relationships. I have 3 other relationships. They don't need to know about that. But if they found out about it, because this is a public stream, then fucking have at it. You know why they don't need to know about it? Because it's absolutely not important to me. It has no importance to me. Whether she comes, or I go alone. They don't mean anything to me. I don't need to create turbulence with my relationships by telling them every little thing, every interaction I have with women. Now, they should tell me every interaction they have with men if they want to have a clean soul. But my conscience is clean. I got nothing to report about anything about that. But that's game. And that's orderliness in your relationships. That's trust. That's not go out and fuck a drunk older chick that just broke up with her boyfriend. There's no character in that. For me to have 3 relationships, or 2 relationships or whatever, going through it with one, she's being stupid. So that's probably going to end. But it may not. Who knows? You know? Girls have been through worse and swerve back around. You got to be harsh with them sometimes. Give them the truth. It's amazing when the breakup is happening, all the truths come out. You're like, man, I was really protecting your ego by not telling you this, but now I'm going to tell you this. And if you get back together after that, you actually will trust each other more. Because so why not just save the heartache and just start with truth? That's what, baby, I'm a more than one woman guy. I'm always going to be charming to women. As I get wiser and older and better and more wealthy and more connected, more women are going to want me. You want me to cut off my balls? You want me to let those women hang and die and get with a lesser man because I'm a one-woman guy? Who's going to be your female friends as you get older, lady? You're trying to be with me. Who's going to be your female friends? Some hoe over there who's with another guy, or she's towing herself around, or she's just going girls' nights out, or she's a spinster or whatever. What's going to be your quality of friends as you get older, lady? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to be talking to hundreds of women. They're all going to come learn yoga from me. They're going to come learn fighting from me. They're going to go to parties with me. They're going to go to dinner with me. I'm going to train them how to be a good woman. They may or may not be with me, but if they're going to be around me, they're going to be better at being a woman because that's the only way to be around me. And here's some friends for you. A bunch of women who respect your man versus a bunch of women who don't respect your man. Because you're a one-woman kind of guy, or you want to be with a one-woman kind of guy. You know, so that's just putting order in your life. But how did I go from a shy guy who couldn't even get out of the car at the local bars to a guy with order in his life like that? Well, that's the trainings. That's changing your mindset, putting it into practice, go and live life. I've been at it 9 years. You know what you can accomplish in 9 years? You know, I've risen and fallen in business and risen again. And, you know, I've moved across the country a couple times. I've, you know, all sorts of experiences in there. All sorts of, man, 9 years ago. Wow. 37, you know? So, what I learned from AZD. So I'm going, man, I went way off there. So I was, what I wouldn't call it a date, whatever. I had this thing with this girl and came back. I mentioned it to everybody, like, I'm going to go see this girl. I think I text the thread or whatever. I never debriefed about it in the class, which, you know, I didn't make it a priority. I didn't see it that it was a priority to other people, and there was no convenient spot to say anything. But, you know, I announced that it happened. And so anyway, part of what happened in my hangout with her, because like I said, she had hung out and communicated with one of my housemates. She'd also communicated online on Instagram or whatever with AZD. How, I don't know. I think probably found him through Instagram, following me and my friend. So they had some messages. I knew they had some messages. I didn't know what they had messaged. I knew he had dismissed her for some reason, like she was rude or something. Like, that's all I knew. And I knew that before I was hanging out. And he knew that I knew that. We all knew. So when I first hung out with her, which is I just got in her car. Basically, I was parked. She came out in her vehicle. And I went over and I sat in her vehicle. We talked for like 20, 30 minutes. And one of the first things she says, it was like, it did kind of surprise me because it was like second or third thing she says. She initiates. I didn't ask it. It was not relevant to whatever we were saying. It was something like, I say hi. She's like, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? This and that, blah, blah, blah. Tell her a little bit about my night. Your friend doesn't like me. I was like, huh? It was like that. I assumed who she was referring to. I think I said actually AZD. You mean AZD? Uh, that seems like something I would say. I'm pretty sure I said that. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, huh, well, whatever. And then just move on. Like, I knew he had dismissed her, but what am I going to talk about with her about it? I'm going to talk about some other guy. I mean, it's not just some other guy, but like, I'm going to talk about another guy. Like, I get it. He dismissed you. She's nothing to me, also. If she turns around and gets with AZD or turns around and gets with my housemate, she's nothing to me. I'm just visiting her because that's the game. And when I say she's nothing, I mean she's more than nothing. I mean, we're friendly, I guess, but it's not like I have any commitment to her. She's not meaningful to me. She's a person, beautiful woman that invites me to interact with her. I go interact with her and practice the game. The game for me is not pickup lines. It's literally how to make people comfortable, how to be comfortable talking any subject, how to understand body communication. I mean, a big thing recently is, what are women really meaning? They're not saying what they mean. Like, never. And it's really far off, actually. It's so far off. It's not like just change a word or two. It would be like she says, let's say she says, come visit me at work. What she's saying is, I miss you. She might be saying, uh, come give me some money. Could be, it depends on the context. There might be some other meanings, but why not just say, I miss you? Well, that would come across too needy, maybe. Oh, I have the upper hand in this relationship. Girls doesn't want to give that over. So instead, invite you to work. What if she was going to say, come give me some money? Well, I'm not going to do that because guys don't like being talked to like that. So she says this indirect thing, come see me at work. Hey, will you come visit me at work? Okay, so she's not saying what she's meaning. Don't take it literally. You got to look for, what is she meaning? And that's where the training comes in, and seeing in person and hearing the dialogues in person. There's a lot said off camera, around here. And joining even the game class, because there's a lot said on camera in the game class. So she says, your friend doesn't like me. I say, who, AZD? Yeah. Oh, whatever. And then change the subject. I just go on to something else. Later, like a day or two later in game class, I say out loud to AZD and everybody, I said, she actually, I don't know how it was brought up. Oh, it's because he was asking me about the date I had the night before where the black girl came to the fucking casino. Again, meaningless, but I needed a date. So go through my stories, invite someone, hey, come. So she comes. And beautiful. I mean, she's a model, but I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, I'm just not that interested in her. And so I didn't really talk about what happened. They were all excited about something else. They were talking about this event that they were going to do in the game class. Like, the guys were talking amongst themselves. A lot of guys had some really profound experiences riding in the vehicle with AZD where his main girlfriend was in. So they were debriefing about that. There was not any questions like, who else, does anybody have anything to report on, whatever. So I didn't say anything. At the end of class, he's like, well, what about your date or whatever? And then so I start debriefing about the date. I'm a little downtone about it. Why? Because I have a sales meeting with AZD right before the game class, and he kind of chewed me out and chewed a couple other guys out about this or that, and I'm feeling kind of down about it because I take shit personal like that. And so I'm still feeling kind of down about it because I'm just thinking, my mind's on business or whatever, and it comes to me to report about this thing. I'm not excited about it. I'm all downtone about it, which means like melancholy or kind of sullen or whatever. And, he calls me out for it, whatever. He has to go. I finished my debriefing about my date with the chick. And, he comes back. I think today is, so yeah, today, he says, I was thinking about that. And usually people are down tone because they're hiding something, I mean, it's basically they're hiding something. So I reveal I was down because of the staff meeting we had right before. And I was also not too excited about the game that I had with that girl because I didn't really think the game was that good that I had with that girl. I'm saving myself the embarrassment. Like, I'm not trying to report on my game. It didn't end well, basically. The ending of the night didn't end bad, but it was like, for how it started great. And then it just like, because whatever. Because of something else that I had reported on, actually, where I confronted one of my friend's dates because she was bullying him about some shit and whatever. I got to call him actually and see what he thinks about that. Because I think I did something really righteous and I think he liked it, but I got to confirm it with him. But then my date had a problem with that. She got like hella triggered by it and was all like sad about it. And so I'm like handling her. She's still being polite or whatever, but I mean, it's not the same level of interaction. She's in her head about something. Probably how I was in lecture because I was in my head about something. Now I see that. That's why we call that a bitch quality. Beta. And so when the date ends, basically, like we're not really in rapport anymore. And so I say that, and then AZD brings up, well, I was also thinking how the other night you were out with that other girl. You just brought that up the other day. Because Sultan was talking about he stayed up really late. And I was saying, well, I was up late also, but I had a lot of energy. And he was like, we haven't heard about that either. But you said, I feel like I'm skipping one detail. Somewhere like the day before or something, I was talking about, oh, that's what it was. So when he said debrief about the chick that came to the casino, we also haven't heard about that other chick. And I was like, yeah. And she even brought you up. And then we moved on and it was like, okay, talk about the casino chick. Now today, he's like, and I was thinking you were down and this and that. And then you also said about that other girl that she brought me up, but you didn't say what was said. So you're keeping a secret or something like that. I'm really paraphrasing. This is not exactly how he said it. But it was like, whoa, was I keeping a secret? I wasn't intending to be secretive, but looking from another guy's perspective. Remember, I was saying, like, if you have wing guys, you start to develop rules. And the rules are not meant to confine you so that you're worse at game. They're actually meant to make you better so that you don't have to think about situations too much. You have rules and then you know how to operate. And so you don't have to consider every situation every time it comes up because you have a rule. And amongst your brothers, and it's organic. You could change the rule. Just talk about it. And that's what the urinal talk was. That we developed some ethics from that. So, I'm caught off guard thinking, whoa, was I being secretive? I wasn't trying to be secretive. Man, I hope everybody doesn't think I'm being secretive. I'm not trying to be, And so realizing that from one of my friends' perspectives, and what she had said was, your friend doesn't like me, which, again, remember I said like a minute ago, the women are never saying what they mean. So what does it mean when the woman says your friend doesn't like me? When she initiates that out of nowhere, your friend doesn't like me, your housemate doesn't like me, or whatever she said. It means she likes him. Why are you bringing him up? It would be one thing if she was like, I was messaging with your friend, but he kind of rudely dismissed me, and I just wanted you to know that I had been messaging with your friend. That is not, I like him. That is, I respect you, and I want you to know so that you don't think I was doing something behind your back. But saying, your friend doesn't like me. What, do you want to talk about my friend? Is that why you wanted me to come over? Honestly, that's what I would, in hindsight, that's what I would have said to her. Do you want to talk about my friend? Is that why you invited me over? What, do you like him? You want me to call him right now? You could talk to him. I'll patch it up for you. It's something like that. Like, get her to whatever. And so anyway, from my friend's perspective, I could see how that's a useful thing to report. Like, yo, the chick said that she liked me, basically. You don't want to tell me that? Why wouldn't you want to tell me that? Because you want her for yourself? Okay. Well, that's fine. And looking at that, whoa, is that what I did? So if the girl likes the guy, there's maybe a few options here. One, you could try to bash the guy. It's called denigrate. You could like talk down about him. Well, he's disrespectful. I don't know what I would say. He's I don't know, because it's AZD. So what could I possibly say bad about AZD? Well, he yells sometimes. I don't know. If it was some other guy, I would be like, well, yeah. Man. See, I don't even talk about the other guy, but if I was going to try to, man, it wouldn't be my friend. Let's pick somebody like, let's say a jiu-jitsu academy. Like, I'm not really friends with the guy, but she might think that he's my friend. Oh, your friend doesn't like me. Yeah, well, honestly, in hindsight, I should have just asked her about it. Like, do you like him? I don't know how to talk down about people like that. Like, he's beta. Yeah, he's emotional. Don't worry about it. See, even saying anything about the guy, you make it important. I have to say it so unimportantly. Because saying anything like, do you know he's emotional? Do you know, like, that's really making him important. about it. So I don't even talk about it. But if I did say something, it'd be like, you know, he's an emotional guy. Like, doesn't like people because he doesn't know how to get along with people. Whatever. So it's very unimportant. That's one option. Not a great option, but an option. Another option is, I mean, maybe going to the route of like, do you like him, and asking and talking about him and trying to resolve it. That's really not a good option. I don't want to talk about the other guy. That just brings it up and creates it right then. Unless it's just a really pointed question like, hey, do you like him? You want me to go? Like, I like you, but if you don't like me and you like this other guy, I don't want to interact with you. Like, that's weird for me. Like, if I go that route, then, and honestly, that's probably the route I would go on in hindsight. Now, working it out, talking, going through the situations, right? And, uh, and then the third option might be to, which is what I was doing, would be to essentially ignore the statement, keep gaming the girl. Eventually, he won't be a thought for her. Maybe that's a little bit of a mistake when it comes to AZD gaming with the girl, because he, you know, is very potent in when he talks and communicates with girls. So it's going to take a long while. It's going to take a lot to overcome that. And, you know, like I said, in hindsight, with the clarity I have now about it, I would just confront her statement head on. Instead of dismissing it, I would just go right into it. I was avoiding it. And with the strategy of, I'm just going to outgame the dude, basically, make her mine, you know, which we did have some physical interaction. So she became my target or whatever. She's mine. Like, you guys are, she's off limits to you for at least a couple weeks. Unless she does more with me, or if we separate, then she's back in the herd. You guys can get her. But I did something with her. She's mine. What did I do? We kissed. Whatever. I say it. It's on public. Like, my girls could see this shit. Fuck you if you have a problem with it. Fuck you, really. So, but if you don't have a problem with it, then righteous. And that's what will keep a girl next to me. She can hear that. The women next to me, as I grow, will need to be able to hear anything, because you'll need to be secure that you're next to me. If you're next to me, you should be able to hear anything, because you're the one that gets to be next to me. And if there's more than one of you next to me, then you're the ones that get to be next to me. And if you think it's not a privilege to be next to me, then go ahead and leave. Watch me accumulate thousands of women that, of them, several are going to feel privileged to be next to me while I talk about whatever I want to talk about. So if my woman is watching this, if you want to be that, then get yourself to a place internally where it's fine. You're secure. Keep doing what you're doing, which includes following my guidance. It's not just stay stagnant. It's actually keep growing. You can do it just like I can. It was not a comfortable situation this morning. Well, I'm being put under the spotlight of potentially being secretive about something against my brother, who happens to be AZD. I don't see it as against my teacher in that sense. Even though he is my teacher, he's also my friend. He has a lot of hats. We have a lot of hats with each other. And, you know, you could also say he's my privately contracted employer. I'm a privately contracted messenger for IMC Nation. He doesn't pay me a salary. I get paid when I pull in money for guys to get better, basically. And then he'll pay me out. And it's just a one-on-one interaction. So he's that also, but we're also friends. We're also sparring partners when we train. Okay. He could teach me jiu-jitsu. I could teach him wrestling. So in this context, I view him more as a friend. Going against my brother, my friend, you know, holding that secret is like, whoa, that's a low-level game. That is not going to work at the highest levels. It'll make groups break apart. That secret will be sticky and accumulate another secret and another secret. That's how secrets are when it's those kind of secrets. And that's where discernment, wisdom is actually everything. It's so important. If you don't have discernment about what's important to tell the girl, what's not important to tell the girl, it's discernment, which means a righteous knowing of right and wrong. And having certainty on that, because it's not necessarily right just because she feels good about it, and it's not necessarily wrong just because she feels bad about it. So what should I or should I not tell her? It's not based on how she feels about it. I need to know what's righteous. So, and philosophy can help point the direction to that. So discernment about what is being secretive against my brother. And I'm here to learn game at the highest levels, because I know game is way more than getting the woman. The woman is the prize. Beautiful, elegant, loyal, a good mouthpiece for me. You know, she's my biggest fan, a spokeswoman for me. Obedient, follows, all these things, you know? So that's the prize, but how do you get that? Have your whole life in order. Everything, to a T. And as you start to put your life in order, more and more disorder appears. So let's say you need a job, you start the job search. Okay, that's order. You're starting to make order. Then you realize you don't have your resume in order. Chaos. So now you have to put your resume in order. As you get your resume in order, it's in order. Now you go to submit it. It's not good enough. Okay, chaos. Got to update it. Okay, you get the job interview. Okay, chaos. Now you don't know how to job interview. You have enough order to get to the interview, but now you're at the level of chaos. I don't know how to do an interview. Get better at interview, get the job, whatever. Okay, so now you got a job, you got income. You're paying you have all these bills. It was chaos. Now you're paying them. Order. Now you buy a new car or something. Shit. Now I need insurance. I need tags. I need this and that and this and that and repairs and oil change and whatever. All this chaos that if you don't bring order to it, it's going to fuck up your life. So as you get more and more money, more and more problems, chaos, you bring more and more order to it. The more orderliness you have in your life, that's what it takes to get the woman. She falls into your order. And now beta would be, I have all this order or not. I don't have to have order. But let's say a successful man, he'd still be beta if he has all this order around him, business, houses, real estate, you know, friends, all this and that. A woman comes into the picture, everything destabilizes. Stops working out, misses his bills, misses the sale, shows up late to work or something like that, parties too hard, whatever. Chaos, because she affected him. All that order, and yet she was higher value than him because she enters the picture and all of his shit gets screwed up and scrambled. So, alpha, order, she enters the picture, no disorder or very little, minimal disorder, manageable disorder happens because she is chaos. So she'll bring in unpredictability. But then because you don't get so destabilized, you quickly bring order to it. That's rules and guidelines and codes of conduct and behavior for yourself and for her. Maybe you give her less rules, but you develop yourself in a way that you can handle her chaos. But like I said, if you change yourself so much that it ruins your business and how everybody else knows you, well, that again, she's affected you greatly. So it's not about I'm completely abandoning my old self for her. It's I'm making adjustments because just like she serves me and wants to please me, I want to please her too. I want her to be pleased. What's within my range of motion here to change myself so that she's attracted to me, seduced by me, just absolutely head over heels in love with me? If she's important, let me look at that. If I'm willing to make those changes, let me do that. Let me get imaginative here. That's the game here. It's all inner game. Okay? So I became much more clear about these secrets and, you know, I'm discerning and learning the difference between when a girl, it's happened twice now with two different girls, where a girl talks about a guy and I treat it as if she's talking about any guy. There is a difference between a girl talking about any guy and a girl talking about an IMC guy. And when I mean IMC, I don't mean like if you're far away, we've never met and this and that. That means something. But I mean the guys that I hang out with, that I know, that I interact with, that I'll probably be interacting with again very soon. And I have this thing with a girl who talked about that guy. And I'm not letting it be known. That's a secret against my brother, my close brother. So becoming more and more aware of these situations, third time's a charm. So it's happened twice now. First time I really fucked up. Second time, okay, that was weird. You didn't think about that? No, I didn't think about it. But now I'm thinking about it. Shit, now I give a whole lecture on it. So now I'm way more clear about it. That's where these lectures and streams or whatever become almost like my own therapy about it. You know, I bring order to the chaos of my mind about it. I'm confused about the situation, but I know there's something to learn here because I have trust. Because I'm a PhD and I've been following this dude for 9 or 10 years and he hasn't steered me wrong yet. Maybe some things I haven't agreed with. But in the end, I got to bow down to the fact that the success is there. So maybe I just don't understand. Let me put aside my disagreement for now and just keep operating because I'm sure the answer's coming. Or bring up the question. I'm learning more to bring up the question. You know, the very Eastern respect for a teacher. So in the Eastern tradition, I don't question what he's doing when I have emotions about it, because that's going to come across really rude. I just need to question it maybe if I have inquisitiveness, kind of like if you were going to ask about uh, how do you tie your shoes cool like that? I'm not emotional about it. I just want to know, how do you tie your shoes all super cool like that? Versus, why'd you change the business structure like that? That's all emotional. There's an emotion. I have a personal attachment to that. So when I have that, I don't ask questions because I know it's going to come out all weird. But I've learned over time that keep moving forward, eventually the answer comes. A lot of times it's not anything that he says or they say or something from the outside. It's actually my own state of mind changes, and what was a problem is no longer a problem. It's just not a problem. I'm in a different state of mind. Have a problem and then go work out really hard. And then when you're done working out, look at your problem. It's probably not going to look like the same problem because your state of mind has changed. That takes physicality, but there's a truth that when you change your physicality, your mindset changes. Go and run really hard, your mindset changes. Do a bunch of push-ups, your mindset changes. And take a cold shower, your mindset changes. Now, true mental mastery, how can I change my state of mind without having to do all of that? How can I change my state of mind without having to do the push-ups or the cold shower? Without the need for some external thing, how can I change my state of mind? Because sometimes you find yourself in a situation like, let's say at a social venue, and some woman talks super rude to you and demeaning, and like it makes you want to react. How do you change your state of mind without dropping and doing push-ups or running around the building? So you need that mental mastery, but it starts with physicality. Physicality is very easy to create the relationship and understand how if I do something with my body, it changes my mindset. And it starts to give you awareness of mindset. Oh, mindset is a thing. Oh, mindset is a thing. And that's what the AZD process is. So like anybody online, when you're ready, there's 3 ways to learn the AZD process. One is join the members class, $97 a month. When you do that, I send you something called the White Belt Telegram group. In the White Belt Telegram group, there's a bunch of little videos that mostly myself I've made. A lot of them are promos for camps and things like that, but I always give value when I give a promo. And so I'll give some sort of teaching about the process, the wake up time, nutrition, something like that. So if you watch all those videos, you'll get the structure more or less. You'll also see the evolution of it because it hasn't always been the same. There's also a document in there that has the calisthenics routine. So you have the physical practice, spells it out day by day. So that's more or less free when you're a paying member, because a lot of paying members, they don't even do the beast process. They don't care. But if you want to learn discipline, and it is, you'll never learn what AZD does unless you have the beast process. A lot of guys, I guess, don't believe that or whatever, but it's literally the foundation. Like you put a house on a foundation. The beast process is literally the foundation of all of the characters and archetypes he teaches. So the second way to learn the beast process is a boot camp called Origins. Origins is $595. It's 17 lectures. It pulls from a lot of different camps because he was doing multiple camps for a certain amount of time. And so a lot of times he'd invite the beast camp to the other camp, let's say Animus or Chosen or something like that. So it was a dual lecture. He was lecturing Chosen camp, but with beast information. And so it's like a lot of overlapping camps. Very interesting product because you basically get to taste the flavor of many different kinds of camps with the beast process. And then, of course, it has other videos that go into the coat of arms, which is this tattoo. It's the emblem of the beast, the stoicism, how to do the journaling. It's the tech of it. The third way is more expensive. It's $1,500, $1,497. That's the gemstone. There were 9 original beast camps where guys got their beads back in the day in year 2020 or early 2021. And staff member Jordan Amari, master myself, he pulled the best lectures from all 9 camps and put them together and organized them into folders. It's 45 lectures. And it breaks everything down. It's straight beast. It's not overlapping with any other topics, any other camps. It's beast camp, beast camp, beast camp. All the imagination techniques, all the mindset shifting techniques, all the evolution of the journaling process, all the applications of stoicism to game. I mean, it's thorough. It is the beast process. And keep in mind, the guys that got beads attended all those camps at the time they were happening, which was much more expensive when you did it. And this is just like a best of product. Okay, my phone's about to die. Okay, so anybody interested in, that's called the phase 1 product, Beast phase 1. After the guys got their beads, they moved on to what was known as phase 2, which was shapeshifting. That was all of the characters, Dracula and Pharaoh and all sorts of things. Shadow Walker, Pitbull. Like these are different characters. But to really do that, you want to have a solid beast foundation. You can get it for the most part in the white belt group. It's not going to be complete. It's just not. It's not my job to teach that. You'll more or less get it if you get the Origins camp. It'll be enough where you could achieve your beads if you do that. If you do that and apply it, you could get your beads. He still gives out beads sometimes. And if you really want the beast process, like you want to go through it like we went through it and understand it and be a beast like us, which is to be the most attractive man in any room, to survive, adapt, and thrive in any environment, even maximum security, solitary confinement, where the calisthenics routine comes from. Because AZD has communication with a guy in that condition. That's the phase 1 product. And this, of course, is streamed to the YouTube channels. You guys can DM me, PhD Yogi Chris on Instagram, or IMC Base 1, number 1, IMC Base 1 on Instagram. And, or of course, email me or whatever. Get involved. Somehow get in touch with me. And I can tell you more about it or talk with you about it. Or, if you need a payment plan, then we could leak it to you. And if you want to get started with it. Because one of the things I always say, like I said on a lecture this morning, I think Charles was there, is that find a way to use what you're learning from this stuff to make money. Communicate. Go out and influence people. Open doorways for yourself. Open opportunities for yourself by knowing how to communicate. Learn ambition and focus from older men who are doing it and go and apply that to your life. That's all it takes. Like I said, you just don't know in 9 years, what can you achieve? It's just applying yourself. And keep going. And you'd be surprised, bro. You just got to stick with it. So that's that. Everybody, daily classes, Origins camp, phase 1 camp. And Charles, do you have any questions? I know I've been like monologuing at you.
Yeah, I don't even know where to get to starting. Um,
I would start with the white belt telegram. Look through that. Watch the videos. The ones that are pinned. You go to the top and press there's a little bar at the top that says pin videos and watch all of my pin videos. It'll take time. Hopefully it's not too boring. I try to keep it entertaining, right? And learn what is it,
I've watched a few of them.
Okay.
So sometimes they stick with me, and other times they kind of like I get it. It's more like what is it called? Like an order, pretty much. Not like in a bad way. It's just like order.
Yeah, you bring order to your life. It's the basic disciplines. You wake up on time, cold shower, exercise, watch your nutrition. There's other
Mhm.
parts of the philosophy like that come from acting. Like he has the whole curtains up process, which is very helpful for your consciousness to think of. There's a transition from my morning process to when I'm in the day and not blending the two. So you have a very big difference between the morning and nighttime process and what you're doing during the day. This is, like I said, the foundation. So it's the structure to be a player like AZD is. He lives like this. It's his lifestyle. So it's literally preparing you to live with us. To come and do residency, you'll want to be familiar with the beast process. Intimately familiar. The more familiar you are with the beast process, the better your time will be living with us. Because even though we don't do the calisthenics like that anymore, we are on the process. And it's essential. It's essential so that you can gain inner awareness in this art that we do. Emotional awareness, ethical awareness. You need that if you want to get good at this stuff. So for now, I would just look through more white belt videos. And if it's really just not entertaining you, then save up your money and get the Origins camp because that'll be AZD teaching it. And he will entertain you for sure.
Got it.
Yes, sir, brother. All right, everybody, phone's gonna die. Got to move on to the next thing. I appreciate you being on, brother, and I'll see everybody next time. Be the best. Fuck the rest. Praise the Lord.